Howdy, 7th grade. Today we are going to be looking at how we're going to do this thing called combining like terms. It's going to make our life a lot easier. Before we get to combining them, it'd be nice to know what a like term is. A like term is going to be anything with both variables and exponents the same. So quick examples. If I have x and 2x, those are like terms because both of these have all the variables and the exponents the same, even though one has a 2. Those are like. If I do x cubed y and x squared yx, these are actually alike. And that's because x squared times x is going to be x cubed y. If I have x to the 4th y, y to the 4th x, these are not alike because I need my variables with the exponent to be the same, and x to the 4th is not the same as x. So if you see the same variables with the same exponents, those are like terms. What we can do with those is actually pretty simple and pretty nice. So combining, some people call this collecting, but combining like terms is done basically like the same way we talk. So I'll explain it verbally first. Like if I say I have 3 apples plus 2 apples, I would say I then have 5 apples. So if you notice what happened there, the part that was the same stayed the same. So my variables, my letters, and my exponents are going to stay the same. So it's done by first leaving variables and exponents alone. And then secondly, I said we can have this number out front be different. So all we're going to do is we are going to add my leading numbers, which are sometimes called coefficients. So let's do a quick example so you can see what that looks like. My first example here is going to be 13x plus 2x. If we look here, I want to leave my variables alone. That's the x, so it's going to stay x. And then I add my leading numbers, which is 13 and 2, and I get 15. So if you have 13 apples plus 2 apples, you end up with 15 apples. That kind of makes sense. I want to do another example. This time, I'm going to have 15xy plus 12x squared plus 2xy plus 5x squared equals. Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to find my like terms. I know that xy and xy are the same, obviously. So 15 and 2 is going to give me 17xy plus, and then I also know that x squared and x squared are the same. So I'm going to have an x squared, and 12 and 5 is again 17. Look at that. So it would be 17xy plus 17x squared. To give y'all one more, if I have, this can be a little bit different than the last two. Let's do 12x squared y minus 3x minus 5xyx plus 2x. Well, now I have to figure out what terms here are like. There's one that jumps out at me really obviously, which is that the x's are going to be the same. So I want to add my leading numbers, but something's a little weird here because I have subtraction. So really this is going to be a -3 and a +2, and I want to add those together. So I leave my x, and then I have -3 plus 2, which is -1. And I'm going to add, and I have to see if I have any more like terms. In this case I do. And the reason for that is x times x is x squared. So this whole term right here can become minus 5x squared y. And when we notice that, I see that I have two things that say x squared y. and my numbers are 12 and negative 5, I add those and I get negative 7 x squared y. And just like that, I end up with equals negative 1 is just negative x, plus a negative I can write as subtraction, minus 7 x squared y. And just like that, I would have my answer. So that's how this works. Please make sure you do the lesson practice. I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a delightful evening.